We are live. Welcome, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. This is Team Kindness Show, and I'm your host, Karen Palmer. I'm the Queen of Global Kindness and the Mindful Media Mom on all social media, using all of social media, technology, and ancient wisdom to raise the levels of gratitude, joy, compassion, love, and peace on earth. So how awesome is it that we get to have the national kindness leaders here? So I have with me my dear friend, John Raymer, who is the founder of the Compassion Games and an amazing, beautiful soul who has been over and visited with the Dalai Lama, who has been working with incredible organizations using social media for a greater good. And we're going to talk about all of that. Welcome, John. Where are you watching from?
Thank you, Karen. I'm here on the Salish Sea up in the Pacific Northwest on Whidbey Island, on Maxwell.
Beautiful.
And this is a beautiful spot, and we've been working for years with the tribes up here and building a more just and sustainable world. But this is home, we call the heart quarters for the Compassion Games, Survival of the Kindest, but it is really a global expression. Thank you so much for having me, Karen. And thank you for lighting up the world.
I'm so excited to have you here. And also, would you guys please share this out and let everyone know in your networks and your family and friends that we're talking about how do we get kindness and compassion going viral, not just online, but on land? How do we start this conversation and let it expand to all of our communities? That's what's really exciting. John and I were just at an incredible, welcome, Emmanuel Joseph's here also, another beautiful kindness leader. Please, oh, and Anne, thank you, Anne Marie. Thank you, guys. Let's share this out, everyone. Let everybody know we're live. Let everybody know that we are here getting ready to talk about this wonderful time that we're going to spend together. And let's just take a few minutes to share this out to everyone. Hi, Angie. Yes, and type into the chat where you're watching from. I would love to see where everybody's watching from. Type into the chat. Yes. So we're going to
doing that right now. I'm looking down. I'm not doing something else, but I'm sharing right now.
Yes, we're going to share it out to everyone that we can invite right in here now and let people know we're live. Let people know to share this out. And thank you so much, everyone. Please type into the chat where you're watching. I say God bless to everyone I meet. Wonderful, Anne. That's beautiful. You're in Utah. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that out. Let us know where you're watching from. I am in Southern California. Emmanuel, where are you watching from? I forget. I think you said you're in the Bay Area. Yes, Angie Taylor is in Australia, our beautiful global family. Remember, it's growing and growing the more we speak. Kindness, compassion, it's at its peak. I challenge you, you challenge me. We are one global family. There's unity in all we seek. So spread this wide and find a way. Do something kind every day. Let's talk about some kindness and compassion. And what's been happening in your corner of the world, John?
Well, you know,
Ben Fowler's here. Welcome, Ben. Thanks for being here.
Good. I've been inviting my friends. Yeah. Well, you know, our goal is to foster creativity, to develop empathy into action. And if there ever was a time when that was needed, it's now. But we are one human family and we are connected. This is more evidence of it. As Karen, you are such a bright light leading the way. And this kind of synchronized sharing, this is what we call synchronized streaming, which is part of a creative way that we can multiply live audiences to get the word out. And we feel like we're just babies at doing this, but we're capable of reaching millions and millions of people. We did that while we were in Dharamshala the day before we met with His Holiness. And we're planning to do these peace waves throughout the year, building up to this road that Ben has been talking about, that we've joined with, this road to 2020, and then from 2020 to 2030 to achieve the global goals and create peace on earth. So
and tell us about the road to 2020, because I am so inspired by this.
You know, there was somebody once said, you really want to change the world, we'll throw a better party. And there's something about that. Burning Man is such a great example of that, right? Where people can come together, combining art and music and creativity with spirituality. We had religious leaders with us, and we went to Ethiopia together. Now, the U-Day Festival has been going on for some time. It started in Thailand in 2012. But we were just in Ethiopia, and we'll be in India next year in November of 2019. And we'd love people to come join with us. And then there's going to be a caravan of unity across the United States. But actually before that, which would be in September of 2020 and ending up in Central Park on 9/20/2020. So that's kind of a big day. We're envisioning this global peace wave reaching 100 million people. But the King of Jordan put forward this World Interfaith Harmony Week that the Compassion Games have been involved with for many years now. Ethiopia, we were there this first week of February, but in 2020, the first week of February, we'll be in Jerusalem. And this vision of really creating the unity that's necessary. There is a unity revolution, as they say at unity.earth, and folks should check that out. They're the originators of the road, but we're on that road with them, and our goal is to create
Unity.earth?
Unity.earth is the website that is kind of a container for lots of partners working collaboratively. They were just in India to prepare for I think it's November 21st, in 2019 we'll be there. And India is such a sacred land. And Summer and I just had the good fortune to travel there and meet with our partners there as well. But then this idea that, you know, coming together at different places, being a delegation, like we were when we were in Half Moon Bay. And Abel Kane from the Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Education for Peace and Sustainable Development, he joined us there. We had just been with him in India.
And James Doty.
Dr. Doty from Stanford and the CCARE. So there is a tremendous desire to come together and weave our strategies together and the capabilities of these technologies. That's why we call these peace waves, these streams, the synchronized streaming together, where we can, you know, take what we have and share that on our pages. And, you know, Karen, something interesting just happened about this. So we call this synchronized streaming. And I was talking to a friend of mine who's an executive at a company called Twitch. And Twitch is very popular, especially around esports. I don't know if you know this, but millions of people take the time to watch other people play video games. It's kind of like a sport.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that crazy? I know.
And this shows you the power of intention, okay, what I'm about to explain, right? So I said, well, you know, part of the social impact network exchange that we're building, the synergistic exchange, is to share with each other. For me to take the stream that you may be putting out like we did on Golden Rule Day and share it with others and share it with others to multiply these live audiences. When I explained that to my friend at Twitch, he said, oh yeah, we call that rating. Mm-hmm. Rating. And I said to myself, I said, what does that mean? He says, aha. In that context, it looks like a negative thing. Because in my channel, if I don't have content, I take the content from your channel, I rate it and put it into my channel. When actually I see it as a benefit, and that I'm able to now have your content shared on my channel, and that creates more value to the people that I'm serving. And then those people hopefully put it out on their channels or their pages. And in doing so, we're able to create more value for everybody.
And please, if everyone's watching this, please share this on your timeline, and please go ahead and share it in any groups that you are an administrator of, and please share it to your friends. You can go down, hit that share button, and all your friends' names will come up, and you can invite them right in here. We need your help. Can you please help us? Thanks.
Well, and it's valuable to you too. One of the things we've learned with Compassion Games is there's not only content of ours that we post there, but we always are posting great content from other folks that are trending, and that's what gets the most engagement on our page. So really sharing is making everything better for everybody. We just kind of haven't come to the realization that that's really a way to serve each other and serve ourselves. So anyway,
that's a win-win. It really is a win-win when we cross promote. You know, it's a very easy and very, very compassionate and kind way to market. It's the new earth marketing. I love that, you know?
Well, I'm sure Ben is just smiling now because he's been envisioning a campaign for a new earth. So
yes, the New Earth marketing campaign. Ben, reach out to me. Let's do it together. Let's co-create that.
Yeah, that's so great, Karen. And we did have the good fortune of being together in Half Moon Bay. I think there was 30 some odd, folks representing different organizations who came together to think creative.
We are now the Kindness Collective 2018. There's 30 of us. I'm going to be writing a monthly blog. I'm going to be doing all kinds of different ways that we can utilize our voices as a collective. And I'm going to be helping with all their social media. I'm going to be helping them with, we're going to be setting up all kinds of platforms for the collective. And it's going to be a great way for us to do this cross-promoting. And that's what Team Kindness is all about. You guys are all part of this as Team Kindness. And you can join on Facebook. If you go over to and just ask to join the group, Team Kindness, and everyone is welcome. And this is going to be a wonderful platform for all of us to cross-promote each other.
Right. Fabulous, Karen. You're such a shining light and example of what we're capable of doing when we do it together.
And the thing is, too, it doesn't matter how many followers you have, and it doesn't matter if, you are not, really on social media, using social media for these purposes. There's a sacred way that we can help you to really utilize and amplify your voice if this is something that you're passionate about. Whether you have a large following or not. I started with one person following me. John started with one person following him.
And we're planning a summit on this whole topic, this global peace wave, surfing towards peace on earth, surfing our way to peace on earth. And it's going to be on June 13th, 14th, and 15th. And I'm looking for leaders who are interested in working cooperatively. In fact, Ben and I have a call later. We'll be talking about this. And you, Karen, I wanted to talk to you about that as well. It's the 13th, 14th, and 15th. It's a web summit. A group came to us who said, we really appreciate the compassion.
Do you have a name of the summit?
It's a Global Peace Wave Summit.
Global Peace Wave Summit. Love it.
Surfing our way to peace on earth. And this trip with His Holiness really opened up lots of opportunities for us, ways that we can creatively work together. And again, the goal is this road that takes to 2020. And then the goal is to have enough prime ministers and working with UNESCO, this group out of India, to declare 2020 to 2030 a decade that's focusing on acts of kindness and compassion to achieve the global goals. So this is one of the things that the world is coalescing around. In 2015, 193 member states of the UN defined these 17 goals that are essential to achieve sustainable development on the planet. And they're really well thought out, and there's triggers and measures and all sorts of those who want to go deeper with that. But our goal is to really mobilize the social innovators and youth of the world to be able to achieve those goals and create peace on earth by 2030. This is the question we're living in. Who would we have to be in order to relate to each other in such a way that those goals are achieved? And especially if you were born today, we're talking about just like 13 years from now or 12 years from now. And if you're, 15 years old today, you'll be 30 years old by 2030. So we need together this intergenerational, this kind of idea that we have an obligation.
7 generations of sustainability too, which is very exciting for me. When you told me that and you showed me that on the map and you started to explain how this was going to touch and really impact the sustainability for 7 generations, this is what we need to be talking about, because we have to be thinking about that and really starting to implement this kindness in business, this compassion in all of our conversations.
Right. I mean, it's so far into our way of thinking. This is what I've learned, Hereditary Chief Phil Lane Jr. is our chairperson.
I love Phil Lane. I wish I could get him in here. I'm going to try tagging him.
Of course you can. But, we're so thinking short-term self-interest, the idea that any decision that gets made by the tribe is considered what impact it's going to have for the next 7 generations. That's a creative way of thinking. It's just truly outside the box for us today. But as we know, if we're going to change our direction differently And this is part of the wisdom that's available to us, is to learn from the indigenous people. There were many representatives of the indigenous people when we were together, or first people, or original peoples, they've been called, depending upon where Aboriginal people, First Nations, and the kind of understanding about how you live on Earth in a sustainable way and how we live with each other. You know, the degree we're open to that, we need to discover those things that are going to take us to that point where we do achieve peace on Earth and make those goals a reality by 2030. So that's kind of.
You had a team that was talking about how to reach the 1%, right? That was what you were working on at the Compassion when we were at our kindness conference in Half Moon Bay. We played a really fun conference that was the best conference I think I've ever been to. And I've been to a lot of amazing conferences, but yeah, Think Wrong. And it was an amazing opportunity to really collaborate on all levels of the same playing field. And we all had a wonderful opportunity to share our voice and to share our own benefits and our own gifts. And so I want to hear a little bit about that with you, how that felt for you.
Right. So we were this part we were given like who would be the constituents that we would focus on. And you're right. The small group that we were a part of were focusing on, quote, the 1%. And it was really prophetic in some ways, because I had just come from a meeting with a group of ours that we work closely with in Silicon Valley, Compassionate Silicon Valley. And our goal there for the September Compassion Games is to have Santa Clara County be the first compassionate county in the country. That means every city. And a number of cities have already affirmed the charter and participate in the Compassion Games, but we want to get everyone. But here's what the board supervisor who came to the meeting, this is an elected official, really a senior position. There are 65,000 people in Silicon Valley that identify themselves as billionaires and millionaires. And there are 7,500 people that there is no housing for. And they have not been able to fix this problem. And he actually explained that there are people who are consciously and who organize to disrupt the meetings. It's called NIMBY, not in my backyard, that just want to sweep away these people. And he explained that these are not people who've come to California to take advantage, but that can demonstrate that their last residence was within Santa Clara County. So these are our neighbors.
Yeah.
And this is part, and I don't say this to paint people as, to be negative, but at the same time, we realize who we've become. And
we need to have more compassionate communication. We need to have more compassionate conversations, especially with our neighbors.
It's a challenge to be creative. And if those folks who are so brilliant and who have such wealth can't come up with a way to share their ingenious creativity and their wealth to provide for 7,500 people who don't have a house, I mean, shame on us. I mean, now, to their credit, the CEO of Cisco stood up and said, put $50 million forward, and says his job is to raise $1 billion out of the other CEOs to be able to fix this problem. But I think this is just a moral outrage. Another one example of that in our country is homeless veterans.
Yeah.
And you know what? And I looked into that here in Seattle because we've been doing something about that here. The problem is not the money. There are vouchers. But the problem is the people who own the properties don't want to let these people in. And this is part of where we demonize each other and we distance ourselves from each other. And that's the pain that I think we're all feeling, that we've become, separate from each other and distant.
And that's all just an illusion, because we are not separate from each other. We're all one and we're all in this together. And the people who do have more, it will be a blessing for them to see how abundant they are and how prosperous they are, so that they can give from a full cup, and not think that I think a lot of times, people that hold their money like this, they just hold on to their prestige and their money, and they can't let anything in. They can't let anything out. There's no flow.
Yeah, one of the things I saw when Summer and I were in Europe, we were in Copenhagen, and there was a sign in a Airbnb we were staying in that said, travel is the only thing you could buy that makes you richer.
Mm.
And you know what? It was really true, because I had this experience when we were in Ethiopia, that the same thing was true when we were just recently in Dharamshala, being with the Tibetan people. The people who have the least often give the most. Sharing and caring. And it was that way when we were in Ethiopia. We went to Shashamani, which is the home of the Rastafari there. And again, their whole religion is founded in sharing and caring. And it's really, we think we need a medical protocol for greed, where people can be diagnosed. You can say, don't worry, it's okay. There's a remedy for this. We know what you're suffering from. It's greed. And what happens is that often occurs to us. We get trapped in our own little stories, in our own world, and we don't realize the consequences of our choices and actions we're making. But that there's 65,000 people that are millionaires and billionaires, and they can't come up with a solution to provide housing. There's tiny houses we're doing here in Seattle. You know, there's ways and creative solutions to how we actually make it possible for people without homes to not be houseless and not be without.
Seeing a video about recycled homes, like making things from recycled materials. I mean, and they're really, really doing some amazing, amazing work out in the world. We just need to, you know, start looking at better, positive solutions for everyone. So tell me a little bit about your experience with the Dalai Lama and how that felt for you. That was your first time going to visit there?
Yeah, Summer and I were asked to go because 10 years ago, the Dalai Lama came to Seattle for an event of compassion. And that's what started the work on the international campaign for compassionate cities. And 2020, we started the 10-year campaign in Seattle. And other cities around the world, over 450 of them, have started similar campaigns. And then the city of Louisville, Kentucky, they took up the challenge. And on 11/11/2011, they affirmed the Charter for Compassion and launched a 10-year campaign. So we were asked, we got an invitation, a small group, to come and share with His Holiness what's happened in the last 10 years and what would be the next 10 years. What's our plan going forward? So that was a great privilege, a total shock. I did not expect to be going to Dharamshala. I'd never been to India before. But with the help of a lot of great folks, including you, we were able to pull it together, and we flew there. And so the Dalai Lama is a rock star. I mean, there's no question about it. And he knows how to be the Dalai Lama. We went to his residence, but it is compassion in action. And here's the story. We went there and we met with the president of the Tibetan government in exile, and we met with many other dignitaries there. And, you know, compassion for the oppressor, not for the oppressed. This is the Dalai Lama. And we asked the question, so what can we do? What could be the most helpful thing for the Tibetan people? What he said is advocate for truth and justice in the world. That if we come to truth and justice in the world, that'll care for not only the Tibetan people, but all the people who believe that. And this is such a great example. And we saw many ways, and we're planning. He's very generous. I got a phone call when I came home from his office thanking us for all the work we've been doing. It was really like out of the blue. And now we're looking for creative ways to bring the Dalai Lama into this road to 2020 and his support for our international decade to achieve the goals and create peace on earth in 2030. So it was a very privileged position to be in. I know that. And by the way, Summer, we brought a organic fair trade chocolate bar. And we didn't know how much he loves chocolate. But of all the presents he was given at the end, you know, people line up to give him presents. He took that chocolate bar, looked at Summer and said, "Thank you so much. I love chocolate," and slipped it into his robes. I bet he had that chocolate bar before we got out of the residence.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
You can see, and he says, "Look, I'm a humble monk. If you ask, I must say yes." So the act of compassion isn't to ask him to do something for yourself, but do something that's good for him and good for the world. And that's what we're working on right now. And we feel very, very privileged to have his love and support. And he's just one of many examples. And we look to him, the metaphor that David Gershon, a dear friend and guide in all this, said, think of the Justice League. And in that movie, it was Batman who put out the call to other superheroes to come together. Yeah. And that's what we're asking His Holiness to do here, to use his influence to reach out to those who can get behind an effort to mobilize the social innovators and youth of the world to achieve those global goals and create peace on earth by 2030.
And there's also a religious, spiritual parliament that's happening in November, right?
Parliament of World Religions. And again, Unity Earth is going to have, I think it's October 31st, like the day before, another convergence. That's a word that's become a part of the amazing synergy when we've come together. So yes, this is happening in Toronto. This happens, it's like since 1890 something, they started to have these Parliament of World Religions, and there's one being planned in Toronto. The last one was in Salt Lake City that we were at with the Compassion Games, and we're planning to be there in support of Unity Earth and this whole roadmap to 2020 and then on to 2030.
That's so exciting. It really is so exciting. And I want to give people a little shout out. Debbie Garcia just entered here. She's one of our gratitude girls here on Spirituality Gone Wild. This is, if you are new to Spirituality Gone Wild, please like our page, leave us a little review, let us know that you're enjoying the programming. We are a channel that's dedicated to only bringing compassion, kindness, gratitude, joy, love, and peace on earth. So if you are looking to have more compassion and kindness and gratitude in your life, please just like our page and let us know in a review how you've enjoyed the show. And thank you everyone who's been sharing. I want to share a couple of the comments, John, and then I also want to open the lines for anyone who would like to ask any questions or just offer some love and any kind of comments or anything that you'd like to share with John. Let's just share. Big, big grin I hear from Joy. And yes, she says a big, big grin. And Debbie Garcia, this is yummy. This is yummy. Love it. Yes. And we are looking at the June 13th, 14th, and 15th will be the Global Peace Summit. So look for that.
The Peace Wave. That's what
Global Peace Wave Summit. I'm sorry, I have it written right correctly here. Global Peace Wave Summit. So get ready to get all that information. We'll be sending out information. I'll be posting all of that in all of my platforms and all of my social media. And we're hearing joy, joy, joy. Way cool. This is so, so wonderful. Thank you for being here. We so appreciate you, John. I am in awe of all that is happening. I am so grateful to hear all of this good news. This is the first I've heard of any of this. Thank you so much. See, this is why we're coming together. This is why we're bringing our communities together, because John and I have been friends for years, and we're starting to see that the more that we do shows together, the more that we collaborate and co-create, the more we accomplish twice as much. So yes, Ben says, inspiring to witness this beautiful exchange. Thank you so much, John and Karen. A new earth is being born. Yay, we love that. Yes, I'm in awe and gratitude for your work, Debbie Garcia says to you, John Raymer. And yes, Debbie G is the queen of gratitude, and she is just the most wonderful, wonderful. She does Spark the G Vibe. She has a show that is every morning. They have a Cup of Grata, which is awesome, and it's wonderful. Devin Thorpe, my beautiful friend, wonderful Devin Thorpe. I'm going to introduce you, John, to him also. John, Devin, welcome. Thank you for being here. Please, I want to introduce you all to my beautiful friend, John Raymer. I am so incredibly grateful that, yes, Ben, wonderful to meet you here. Everyone's sending friend requests. Yay! Send your friend requests. Yes, that's wonderful. Check out John at the Compassion Games and like their page on Facebook, and you'll get all the notifications. And what is the Facebook page for Unity Earth?
I think it's Unity Earth.
Unity Earth. How easy is that? So
the website is unity.earth. And I was going to say, I'm going to be with Ben. So here's the other thing that would be exciting to know about. These peace waves that we're doing this together.
Yes.
So Ben and I are going to Greenland. So the September Compassion Games, we launched that during the summer solstice that's coming up. And the event there is Melting the Ice in the Heart of Humanity.
Wow, beautiful.
Uncle, a very famous shaman elder, Inuit. And then there's a Peace Pledge Project. This is the group that we've been working with, Julie Schelling and Brigitte and many others, Jonathan Granoff. They're going to go from a pilgrimage from Greenland to Assisi in Italy, where they're going to walk for peace there as well. And we're going to do another peace wave there as well together. So these are our chance to kind of flex our collective muscles, to spread the word. You know, I want the folks at Facebook to tweak that algorithm towards peace on earth, right? If they could tweak it towards creating a particular political outcome.
Wouldn't that be amazing? Oh, I'm going to hold that vision with you, John. And Ben, please type into the chat right here any of the links for any of the ways that people can follow on Facebook and Twitter. And Devin Thorpe, please type into the chat any of your links that you would like to share. This is an open platform. If you have something you want to share, just type it into the chat. And if you want to tag me ever, just go ahead and tag me. Let me know that you'd like some help promoting. Doesn't matter if you have a large following or no following at all. Just reach out to me. I will be honored to help.
You know, Karen, I want to say something to you personally, okay? Because years ago, I've learned that what power is in the world is making a promise and keeping it. And that's how you live your life, Karen. When you say you're going to do something, you do it. You're consistent, you're reliable, you're dependable. You're exactly what we need more of in this world. You are a good friend. You're a good friend.
You're going to make me cry. Thank you.
It's really like my mentor used to say, this is not a compliment, it's just an observation. But it's
thank you
exactly what we need. When you say you're going to do something, I know you'll do it. And you're there supporting everyone. You're always looking out to find creative ways to empower all of us. And this is where I want to shine the light. And this is how I want to be in the world. And thank you for being such a good example of what it means to really be a partner and an ally. I'd climb a mountain with you in a second.
I'm excited. This is so cool, John. This is so cool. I just love it. I'm so happy right now. I just feel like I could just jump out of my skin. How are you guys feeling? I love this. Co-creative working together makes my heart sing. Kindness, blessings to all. Kathy Watson from Australia. And yes, Ben puts in here udayfestival.com. You guys just check that out. And we have, meeting the ice of the heart of humanity. Wow, we love that. Debbie Garcia, thanks for sharing that. Yes, Angie Taylor says, it's happening. We are co-creating peace on earth without a doubt. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Yeah. I should have had my Australian accent.
Well, Ben's from Melbourne. I mean, that's where he is right now.
Well, that's where Angie Taylor is in Australia also. Angie Taylor, you guys make sure you guys connect, okay? And Ben and Angie Taylor, make sure you connect.
It's Ice Wisdom. You go to icewisdom.something. You'll find that this event that's coming up that I'm talking about the end of June.
I love that.
Yeah. It's one example.
I'll give all the links and I'll put them in. What I do is after the show, I come back in and I put up all the links of what we talked about. I come back and watch the replay and I go through and put in the links at the appropriate time of when we're talking. So.
Now on the Compassion Games website, which is compassiongames.org, you can see the map, this Compassion Report map, and see what people are doing all over the world.
Okay, and also we are going to have here on Team Kindness every week a kindness service announcement. And so this week, we would love for you to check out the Charter for Compassion. So you can go to charterforcompassion.org. I want to talk a little bit about Charter for Compassion because John is a beautiful representative of the Charter for Compassion. The Compassion Games is part of the beautiful movement that came from the Charter for Compassion. So John, can you give us a little bit of a background about the Charter for Compassion? And I'm going to put in the link for people to join as a partner.
Yep. Well, you know what happened? I mentioned earlier, we did in 2008 have a 5-day event with His Holiness the Dalai Lama called the Seeds of Compassion. Well, at that same year in 2008, and those of you who are watching probably know there's not only these TED Talks, but there's also a TED Prize. In 2008, the TED Prize was given to a religious scholar named Karen Armstrong, who'd written many influential books. And when you win the TED Prize, not only do you get the recognition that comes with it, but you get I think it was $100,000, maybe more now, and you get one wish to change the world. And when Karen gave it some thought, what she wished for was a charter for compassion, that we would be able to implement globally the golden rule. She said so many faiths and teachings and ethical paths and moral codes have this basic idea in mind, that you should treat others the way you want to be treated, or don't treat others the way you don't want to be treated. Either way you come to it. So she wished for and wrote the Charter for Compassion with a whole bunch of other folks. It spent a year doing that. And in 2009, the charter was unveiled to the world in November. And actually, we ended up getting the Charter for Compassion. It came to a group here in Seattle. And we realized that what we should do with it is create its own 501c3, its own separate nonprofit. So Marilyn Turkovic is the executive director.
Fabulous. She's going to be our guest next week on Team Kindness. So we're going to be having her on as our guest next week. So this is our kindness service announcement. Every week, I'm going to give you a kindness service announcement of ways that you can be part of the solution while you're listening here. I'm going to give you all the links and all the ways that you can be the part of the solution, be the love, be the peace, be the kindness that you think is missing in the world. So thank you, John. Keep going.
No. So the Charter for Compassion, which has, been going now, I think they have thousands of partners around the world. We've been a proud partner.
2,000.
Yeah. It's a simple act to affirm the Charter for Compassion, but then what we've been encouraging these compassionate cities or communities and groups around the world use the Charter. Like I mentioned before, in Santa Clara County, every city, our goal is to have every city, I think we have 7 or 8 of them now, have already affirmed the Charter for Compassion and then implement some kind of campaign to bring compassion to life within their community. And there's lots of resources on the Charter for Compassion website. It's charterforcompassion.org. And it's another example of what our service in action looks like. So when we talk about the compassion games, we're saying, let's foster creativity to develop empathy into action. And that may look for you like from the top down, involved with government officials, and maybe the bottom up, dealing with grassroots organizations, the grassroots as well as the grass tops. It may be bringing in best practices from all over the world. The Charter is really good for letting you know what's working in these different sectors they've laid out, or realizing in the end that it all starts from within. So we say top down, bottom up, outside in, but from the inside out. And that this is being compassionate in the world and being compassionate towards the earth and towards others and towards ourselves is a spiritual practice. It's not easy sometimes. I know that. And I encourage everyone to find their way and find each other, and let's do this all together. I mean, this is, if you really want to go a distance, we got to do it together. And that's kind of what you represent for me, Karen, and what you demonstrated one more time is your, intention to unite the world and come together. So thank you for making this time available, and thank you so much for all you're doing.
Oh, you're so welcome. And yes, I'm really excited to have Marilyn next week. Marilyn was on my team that we all broke into different teams. And so Marilyn and I were talking about how excited we are to have a kindness media broadcasting channel. So this is the beginning. These are the baby steps of having a kindness broadcasting channel. So you guys are being the first to see this, starting to be planting the seeds. And we are really working with some amazing organizations. Jennifer just came in here. Kind, how do you say it? Kind, can you type that into the chat, Jennifer? Kind Aegis, because kindness is contagious. So Kind Aegis, if you could type that into the chat for us, Jennifer, I would love for you to type in all the information about your organization. As I said, as you're in here, if you're watching on the replay, If you're watching live and you have something that you want to share, just type it into the chat. This is an open forum. This is an open platform. And if I can help you in any way, feel free to tag me. Feel free to reach out to John on social media. Feel free to look at all of these links and find a way that you can search your own heart and see how much you would like to be involved in this, because we are going full force into this 2020, road to 2020, and we would love all of you to be a part of that, to really help us to amplify this message. So anyone who's interested in that, please leave a comment, and you can, whether you're watching live or on the replay, it really doesn't matter. When you are watching, you are in the present moment. So there is no time, space, sequency when we are in this oneness together. So when we are here in this present moment, in the eternal now, we are really experiencing the oneness. And John, I feel like that was something that I felt with you so much when we were at the conference. We had never met. I had no voice. I had zero. I was like Minnie Mouse. I had no voice. And he was so compassionate and so kind. And everyone at the conference was so compassionate and so kind. And, you know, it was a real experience for me in trusting in really being who I am without my voice, you know? And that was a really powerful experience that I felt was so beautiful. And Wendy Gilbert's here, yay! You guys follow Wendy on all social media, reach out to her, and like I said, join us in the Team Kindness and Kind Evolution. She has a beautiful, beautiful website that you can join us to collaborate. She's bringing together, and also she has a beautiful kindness camp day that's coming up July 24th, which is absolutely amazing, which is going to touch many beautiful children's lives. And they have a beautiful program that's called Camp to Campus. And thousands of college-age students are going to be helping these younger children to be able to take these beautiful curriculums that they're going to be learning at camp back to their campus and create their own beautiful memberships and their own leadership roles, taking this back to their own school. It's an amazing, a beautiful project. And I am so honored to have Wendy Gilbert here. So please follow Wendy on all of her social media. She is Kind Evolution, right? Type that into the chat for us, Wendy.
Yeah. No, it was perseverance and determination that made it possible for us to convene and have it. And that's, again, I was honoring you, Karen, for having that capacity to promise and deliver. You know, it was that way for Wendy. And it was so beautiful. Actually, I haven't had a chance to tell Wendy this, but I'm part of encouraging her to be on the summit that we're having, that you'll be on as well. But I'd love to have pairs of mothers and daughters. I had the good fortune to have dinner with Wendy's daughter. And it's so powerful. I mean, this is one of these kind of unique expressions I see emerging. I think there was like 3 or 4, or at least 3 pairs of mother-daughter teams who've teamed up. There was the woman and the daughter from Louisville who's working on.
Susan's here. She's here with Morgan Guess. Yes.
Fabulous. And I just think this is a good sign. It's another example. And unlikely allies too. I want Phil Lane to come on. He'll be on the summit talking with, you know, we did this whole Cowboy Indian Alliance, the new CIA. And we were really privileged to witness this coming together where, again, people who are unlikely allies forming partnerships, building bridges to cross those divides and work cooperatively together. And seeing mothers and daughters was one example. I'd love to highlight a few mother-daughter pairs So Morgan, I'll be in touch with you too about that for the web summit we're planning for June 13th, 14th, and 15th.
Absolutely. And I'll make sure that I get in touch with Susan because she was on our team also. So I'll make sure that I get you guys definitely connected so that it's really easy for you to communicate with each other. I'll make sure I'll work on that for you, John. Anything I can do to help with the summit, just let me know. I'll be happy to, help get some guests. And
yeah, we have on it a millennial leader, many millennials, but one of them is a woman named Dr. Saren Dalkeren, and she's in the Netherlands, and she runs a millennial lab, and she's been a mutual mentor of hers for years, and that's the way that they refer to it. Or there's this kind of reverse mentoring, where maybe you've seen young people being hired in corporations to teach the CEOs about what this next generation is thinking. So I think mother-daughter pairs and teams, and talking about how they've come together and dealing with the challenges and how they are mutual mentors to each other. I mean, there really is important lessons to be learned, and there is an intergenerational equity and responsibility that we have to the next generation. That's why we framed this whole idea of working cooperatively with the world's youth to achieve these goals and create peace on earth.
I wouldn't be the person I am today if I hadn't had my daughter, Marissa. Marissa was the person who taught me how to use technology. She was the person who taught me how to use social media. And she was also the one who was my partner when she was 4 years old at our very first Earth Day. I mean, she held it together. She was like this beautiful old soul. She grabbed the microphone and she was just telling people, you're going to come over here. You're going to be over here. And so I would love to have the two of us on. I'd love to be a part of that mother-daughter.
Well, let's do that then, Karen. Then this is an invitation to you, Karen, to invite her to join with you on that. I'd love to learn and let others know the story.
And Tiffany and Alyssa, they were they live here in my town, so I'll get in touch with them also.
Organize that panel. Maybe we could talk more about that. There's a couple other mother-daughter teams I've been thinking about. I'd just love to let those stories be known in the world. And
absolutely, just stay on the broadcast when I close. I'm going to close this out because I want to be mindful of the time, and want to thank everyone so much for being here. And John, what would you like to say in closing to the people who are listening? Oh, first, wait a second. Joy wants to say, I am so glad to meet you, John. You came in by phone during one of Brother Phil's classes in 2015. Thank you for all you are doing and being on behalf of us all, one heart shining.
Thank you, Joy. Yes, it's really my pleasure. I am so blessed. I mean, to be able to do what you love with the people you love, this soul family that's emerging, this gives me hope in these times. And we need each other, and together we can do this. So I'm totally in and grateful for the chance to serve. And if there's any way I could be of service to anybody who's watching this at any time, the Compassion Games is a way to bring service to life. We play in September and in April. We just finished the April Games with hundreds of teams. Check out compassiongames.org. But more than that, we're building this collective capacity to really show what we're capable of as one human family. And that's this Global Peace Wave Summit we're doing, and this idea of doing these waves together. So let's make waves. Sometimes people say, don't make waves. We say, no, it's time to make some waves and some peace waves. That's what we're up to.
Peace waves. I love it. Thanks, you guys. And thank you for being here on Team Kindness. I'll be here next week at 5 p.m. with the beautiful Marilyn Turkovich, and we can hear all the amazing things happening with the Charter for Compassion and ways that compassion is going viral. All of this is happening because you're watching, because you're paying attention, because you're putting your focus on solutions instead of problems. When you come here in this show, you will never be hearing about us judging others or putting anyone down. We will be talking about solutions, and we will be talking about how do we have more compassionate conversations, and how do we bring more kindness as the normal. That's what we're hoping for. And this is the intention of Kindness the Team Kindness Show. We are going to be bringing together the 30 national kindness leaders and the beautiful kindness youth leaders. So they're going to be here. You got to watch this every week. And I'm going to set up a page so that you'll be able to go back and watch all the replays. So thank you so much for being here. We'll talk to you soon, and have a beautiful, beautiful night. And remember, we're all in this together, connecting hearts in every weather. Play your part, make a start, share your heart, spread it wide. Team Kindness going viral now. Yay! How awesome. Yay!
Wow.